Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Warchief Radio. We are on episode 11, firmly in the double digits, with today's guest, Nicole Hail-Sanchez. Hello, Nicole. What name?
Hello. Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm good. Hanging in there with all the Karens at work, but it's going okay.
I love how that's become like an actual thing now. People generally call people Karens. I legit thought it was just a meme, but it's become a thing.
Name?
Yeah,
well,
Karens.
I've been dealing with people that act like Karens and then like legit Karens, like their name is Karen and they're acting like a freaking Karen. So
I feel bad for Karens that don't act like Karens, you know what I mean?
I know.
My aunt is not a Karen, and she's called Karen, and it's like, I feel so bad for her.
I feel bad for everyone with the name Karen.
Yeah, and most of them are real nice, and they're not an issue, they're not anything like this, but they've just been given a bad day. It's like, we gotta choose one. We gotta choose one name. It could be Debbie, it could be Brittany, it could be Betty. Let's go Karen. And I feel, oh well, you know, poor Karens.
Is it Karen and Ken? Is that? I think that's the trend of those freaking people that. I'm not trying to do politics, but there's a Karen and Ken meme on the internet because of these two people that they were like standing outside their house where the protesters were at and like just pointing guns at the protesters, and they dubbed them Karen and Ken. So I was looking for something like Karen and John because John is such a basic name. So if it were up to me, I would name all the male Kens.
Isn't Zach's real name John?
Johnny.
Johnny.
See, it's Johnny. It's not John.
Well, Johnny. I mean, I love that. It's that when you say John is a basic name, you look at John Morrison, John Cena, you know, all these fucking Johns.
It really right in my bowl.
Bro, there's so many Johns in wrestling as well. Like, just a lot of Johns in the world.
I don't get it, bro.
I don't know either. I'm trying to think of all the fucking Jonathan Coachman. You could call him Johnny Coach. John Bradshaw.
John Marston. See, but that's a good John. That's a good John.
John Marston's brilliant. Talking about video games quick. Which is your favorite?
Halo series, without a doubt. Specifically Halo 3. I think it's always going to be.
I think my favorite series has to be Red Dead, just because of story and like.
Red Dead is good too. I told Johnny I'm going to name my son Arthur Morgan, and then whatever the last name I'll have, because that story hit me hard, bro. I couldn't oh my god, I got so attached.
I think it's the best story from a game ever. Like
it's really good.
It is just one of the best stories from a video game. Like I don't think like. I've got like a little tier list that I share with my friends and stuff about like what's the best fucking shit to watch media wise, right? Like just if it's a good story, and I think Red Dead tops it. Prison Break's also in there because Prison Break's just amazing.
Yeah.
Then I have to say, after watching Stranger Things on a 3-day binge, Stranger Things is also in there at the moment. It's like Stranger Things is in there at the moment, like. There is not much that like Stranger Things has it takes a really big thing to make a person go and feel really invested into media, right? And storylines with WWE, it takes a lot to make like if something can make you cry or something can make you genuinely happy or something can make you like excited, it takes a lot because sometimes it's just media you just gloss over. Arthur Morgan's story arc in Red Dead Redemption 2. Fan-fucking-tastic. I got into it so many times. Prison Break, the whole brother dynamic and all that shit, perfect. I loved it. Stranger Things, just knocked it out of the park. Like, I don't want to put too many spoilers or shit, but season 1 of Stranger Things, you had the whole mother that's going insane for a child. You can empathize with that. You're like, oh shit, that's a lot to go through. Then the next one's all about the bond. Like I genuinely felt like the fucking police guy Hopper, I think, and Elle.
Yes.
Like just after watching The Last of Us, it was like that's Joel and Ellie. What the fuck? And it works so well. And media that can make you do that. Whether like, I'm someone who's generally pulled towards more serious media. It's not like goofy and funny to make me laugh shit, but more this is a strong story, and I don't mind if it's not going to end with a happy ending. You know, I'm never someone that looks for happy endings. It's not something yes, it's good, but I absolutely love like sometimes the sad endings where it's like we won, but at what cost? You know?
Yeah, that brings me to actually think about when we just, like, I'm not gonna spoil anything because the game is so new, but like with The Last of Us Part 2, like, a lot of people hate the game because of like how things went about, but I think just people like it's great that you're invested in the game, but if you're so invested that you're not even looking at the full picture, it takes out the message of the game of what it's trying to portray. And like that game was honestly a really good game, and I loved the person everyone hates. And she like there that person's story is so well done and written out, and the whole game is great. I love that game. So there's a lot of people who hate it because of one thing, and they're just not looking at the bigger picture here. So that's another thing, like when people just don't look at the whole picture. Like, yes, like sad things happen and it sucked, but there's a reason why the writers put that there, because there's a big message to be sent. And if people would look back a little bit, they would see that. But some people are just so narrow-minded, they can't.
I think for The Last of Us 2, I think the starting, like, here's how I describe it, right? It's good, but it isn't what I would have done. And I think as a wrestling fan, that's what every wrestling fan says. Like, see a story arc in wrestling, like the Summer of Punk, for example. You say, it was good, but I could have done it better if I was booking. And chill out. Everyone's going to say that. And I think with Last of Us 2, they hit the nail on the head very well with some of the gameplay. But then they added, I think, a bit too much with one person, and then it just felt rushed at the end. Personally, I think that they did that just to set up the next game. Like, I think they could have ended the story here. Honestly, they could have ended the story right here, right now, and finished it, and nothing wrong with it. And if this was like the conclusion of the entire story, I think it would have been much better, because they weren't going to try and force stuff in for the next game. Because I think there is definitely going to be a next game, and they had to like give you those core. They gave you core things to deal with. You know, they gave you the core bare bones that you'll play The Last of Us 3. And I think if they were to end the game, they could have written a much more captivating story. But because games are consistent and they'll keep on coming, they I think doomed to follow up and put another addition to the story. I think personally, I really just want to see a prequel. I just kind of want to see who was in the first Last of Us. There was Joel and another woman. I don't remember her name. And this game was done in 2013, so I'm okay giving the spoiler. But in Last
Sarah
of Us 1,
was her name.
Was it Sarah?
The other, yeah.
Not his daughter, but the person he was with before when they met up with Ellie, there was another person with him, and then she got bit.
Yeah. I know.
I want to see a prequel to that, maybe, and like, I don't know. It's just weird. The whole dynamic between Ellie and Joel was something that everyone really got behind and really liked, and now with the way they've ended it, you can't really do it unless you say a prequel to, like, the Last of Us 3 be in between Last of Us 1 and Last of Us 2. But again, who knows, right? Because I think I can agree with the sentiment that the Joel and Ellie parts of Last of Us 2 was probably the best, because that's what all the fans came to see, you know. And I think that's the thing with wrestling, though, isn't it? Like, if you are someone who, like, if something that works and you like it, you're not gonna like it when it stops. And I think and then you're gonna get these, like, media and people react in the same way. And I think in wrestling, if something doesn't go your way that you don't like, you tend to shit on it, right? And I think let's say for sake of example, you don't like Charlotte Flair, so you'll shit on every time Charlotte will come in. Oh, Ember Moon's not getting the push you wanted, so you're gonna shit on her. shit on whatever was happening instead. You know, that's kind of how wrestling fans react, and it's kind of weird. And it's also kind of how core people react. And I think core wrestling and media as a whole all generally interact with one another with the same.
Gosh. Yeah.
I think there's people out there that you'll see. We've talked about for 10 minutes now about games, but I think if you see people not seeing the bigger picture, and I think that's a big annoyance to a lot of people. I think there's definitely times in media where I see something at like episode 2 of an 8-part season, and I think, what the fuck is this shit? This is bullshit. But by the time I get to episode 8 and I look at the season as a whole, I'm like, that was great. I loved it. Yeah. And that was the same for Last of Us 2. Like, when I saw it, because I didn't play the game, but I watched multiple people play it, and just because I wanted it for the story, and I don't have a PS4. But I saw multiple people do that and play that and all this, that, and other, and I was like, okay, this is good, yada, 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 yada. And at the time I was like, this is fucking bullshit, but by the time I watched the entire game, I was like, okay, I like it. And you see it with wrestling, you're like, I don't understand why this person won. Oh, it's to set up this big match. Like, what do you mean Charlotte Flair's won the women's championship at, was it WrestleMania? Yeah, it was WrestleMania. Yes. Oh, it's so Io Shirai can get into a big feud with someone down there at the bottom. Which would, I think, down there, I say up there at the top, not down there at the bottom. But there was a lot of that in core as well. There was times where, like, a GM or promoter, he will think, or a manager or whatever, they'll think, okay, I want this person to lose this match because later down the line they're going to have this big, massive uproar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the big story arc for them. Yep. But then those kids in the core, and I think core as core wrestlers, we have a lot more push on what happens in feds, and I don't necessarily agree with it. I think if you're in a fed, you should just have trust. Yeah, and I think here's my problem, right? People join feds and they're like, okay, I trust this person with my core, with my career, and I don't think they should do that. And no, they shouldn't do that with the sentiment of this person's going to do everything for me. I think you need to, when you join a fed, you look at the owner and you look at the management team and you think, are these people going to make good storylines, and am I okay with giving myself to them and working for them and following what they're saying? Because there's too many times where people join a core fed or something and it's just they're like, right, I see the owner here, he's just going to give me a fair shot at like everyone else, and I'm just going to win my titles and it'll be happy days. I would much rather watch a story-based fed than one of those, like, just here for the title feds, you know? I'd much, like, let's say I was joining Honorbound, right? The big cheese in charge there is Lions, and you have the wonderful staff at Honorbound and COH of Tone and Breon and Lexi and Carter, and there's another one I'm forgetting. They'll come to me.
Yeah.
But you see
Breon? Did you say Breon?
Yeah, I said Breon. It'll come to me, don't worry about it. But I look at them and I say, I trust them. I can fully say I'll trust them, because if they have a good idea for me, I do not mind me losing. Because I think there's too many times where people are just I don't trust you in my core now because you're making me lose, and chill out. Sure, you're gonna get frustrations. You shouldn't join a fed thinking this fed's gonna. Yes. You need to. I
agree.
Yeah, you need to consider what fed you're joining, because if you're gonna get upset with how you're treated in that fed, then you need to reconsider what you're doing. Because I've heard so many stories of, I joined this guy's fed and they changed my core stats to lose, and they fucked me over in a title shot, and it's just. You need to trust them. And
exactly. Like, the funny thing is that, like, before I joined COH, like, that was back in 2017, that summer. Somebody that time, they'll know who they are, was telling me not to join COH because that person, and Lexi talked about it too, we're basically talking about the same person, but like, yeah, I heard the same thing about, oh, they changed my call, they changed my stats, this and that, and at first that made me not want to join, but at the same time I was like, well, these people never did anything wrong to me, and the way that I see this show, whether people want to admit it or not, it's great content that they make. So I just said, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna join, and I was the first one in like my friend group to do that. And then next thing you know, bunch of my friends headed over there, and they used to be exclusive. So I just feel like a lot of people have a problem of like, if their friend says something, they take it like as the truth, but really not hear the other side. And like you were saying, you shouldn't join a place if, I think for me personally, I like one Fed right now that I'm in, it was actually Boom's place. Like before, I used to have problems with some people in the management team, and I was like, I don't know, I think in my best interest I don't want to join, because I don't know how they're gonna be like with my call, or if something happens, how that will go. But I mean, over time we've all matured, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll join. And now I'm doing an amazing heel storyline in this place. Like, it's one of my favorite things I'm doing right now, besides over at COH as well. And I just did all that by not listening to what people were telling me about the people that they had problems with. And I feel like that's what happens a lot, is there's this group mentality in the community that is so toxic. Like,
the
I've
clique
been down
mentality,
that road.
we've talked about it. It's a clique mentality, and I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to Core, and it's still the worst thing that happens to Core, because here's the thing: you have an argument with one person, the entirety of that clique is then your enemy, right? And when I say your enemy, I'm not talking like military and all that shit, but they won't want to talk to you. They're like, oh, fuck you. And even when you're so in the right, and just because you've crossed someone they talk to, it's done. You're fucked. You're never going to get talked to again.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot over small shit. I know that I've pissed off people just off like saying, I don't think you're running this right. I think you need to be doing this. And it's like, oh, fuck you then. It's like, no. I'm trying to help. It's just weird, in my opinion. It's just fucking stupid while people get annoyed about, because people get annoyed about a ton of shit. Now, I was bringing on to me this point about what feds you should trust. I think if you trust a fed to run your character, you should not have as much as a pull or push into what goes on. Yes, creatively, yes, you should. Like, I want this to be this character, right? But when it comes to how your pushes and how you're going to be booked and what you're going to go for, you shouldn't have a single, like, you shouldn't have as much power in that as everyone else is. I think that's the one way you put yourself into a corner, because then you're like, oh shit, do I need to book? I promised this guy a world title shot, or this guy's begging for a title shot and he's going to leave. And I think that's fucking stupid. And I think that's why there's so much. I think that's why most companies are bad.
Yeah.
I feel that in real life wrestling, right? You are paid to come on, you wrestle, you do exactly what the promoter says, and then you go home. You know.
Yeah.
I think it should be more like that I think it should be more like that in the core community. I think, and I'll say this perfect example, COH is the perfect point of it, because you can come to them and you can be like, okay, I want to do this, I want to turn face, and they'll take that into account when they book. But you should never go up to them and be like, I feel you should book me this way, and this way. You know? Like, you should give me the world title. No, that's fucking stupid. And I've heard it in so many feds before. The redacted fed, the whole reason that went down to fucking shit, it was
he had his friends, literally, as somebody who was in the management team, all of his friends, like, well, I mean, a lot of the people that were the big names, they knew that redacted would kiss redacted would kiss their ass, so they knew, and I think it was just a way to test him, because he was so weak-minded. And I remember he told me I couldn't have more than, I think, 3 female matches, but the men could have like 15. I was telling Johnny the other day, I said, look, I love you men, like, you guys are great, but I am not sitting at a show for 7 hours straight seeing just men wrestle. Like, I'm there to see a variety. I'm there to see women. I'm there to see tag. And I'm there to see men. I'm not there just to see one single thing. And it's feds like that are now, like, burned in the ground, because they only cater to their favorites. And if you're not their favorite, it's basically a big F you. That's what his mentality was.
He was terrible through and through.
Like, he was terrible. He was the worst. And the saddest part is a lot of my accolades come from there. But I don't erase all of my history, but I don't acknowledge his name. Like, I just said, oh yeah, I won titles before this, blah blah blah, but I don't acknowledge his thing, because at the end of the day, I feel like you shouldn't have some like asshole like him be the reason that you can't acknowledge a lot of your accomplishments you did in the community. Like, that's just horrible.
Well,
sorry to
cut you off, but to bring it to the point, this is why you should join feds that you trust, because I trusted him, and he fucking kicked it up my ass and kicked me out of the fucking. Oh god, I sound like a fucking petty child when I talk about this, but he did things as an owner that he shouldn't have done. I think if you're an owner, you should have you should talk to you should not. When I was saying how like the people in charge should be in charge, and the wrestlers coming in to do stuff shouldn't have as much of a say, I say that they should have an idea of what's happening first as well. I like to completely get this point right, because if I don't get this point right, people are going to get angry. They're going to be like, what the fuck, Townsend? What do you mean? You fucking cunt. Why are you saying this? And I need to get this point completely out there and completely formulated, or otherwise people are going to be like, oh, you believe this is how feds should be run and all this shit. I will tell you this for free. I think that when you join a fed, you should trust the owner. And I've said this. I'm reiterating, but trying to go over it. You should trust the owner you join the fed of. Otherwise, it's silly. But you shouldn't have and with joining them, you should have the mental capacity to think of, okay, when I join them, I trust them to treat my core with respect. I trust them to keep my name with respect. I trust them to keep my reputation with respect. I trust them not to throw me down in the fucking ditch. And I trust them to overall benefit my career and push me and make me an asset. You should not be going in there thinking, oh, my best mate runs this fed, so I can just get an instant title shot, or I can be in the big top faction running the show. Which I'll be in the big top faction running the show, and my storyline is the storyline that matters, and nothing else, not at all. Which I always also think is fucking shite. I think as a fed manager, you should try and make all your storylines most important. Like, you should give energy for what is given, right? So if I'm someone, I'm in the mid card, but I'm giving a ton of work towards you, and I'm doing so much work towards my storyline and all that shit, I want that work reciprocated. And I want sort of like an even playing field, you know, because there is times where storylines are the best thing on a show and should main event, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Like Tone and Liam Mercer for the TV championship in COH that main evented,
and that main evented
a WrestleCade. Mm-hmm. And with that main event in WrestleCade, because the story was that good, and I think that should be the thing for every fed. I'll tell you this now. I do TW, right? And you book your own shit and all this. I'll book the main event as whichever match I feel is the greatest. So more often than not, I have tag team main events just because I know that'll do better. You know, like it's just the way I see it. Like, yes, you want your world title to be working, and that should be served as an incentive to put the best people that you work with and do the most effort for the world title. Like, because then you're gonna have your world title match be the most important thing, and equally with the women. And I'll bring it on to this point. When getting a list of what I wanted to be the roster for Muay Thai Icons, right? The company that was just starting out. Here's my problem. I could think of more women that I wanted on that show than men. I fucking and I realized how much people in this community I cannot fucking stand, and I was like, I would sign them, they're a pain in the ass, and I don't want to deal with it. And it's amazing because I had so much. I've now got more men because I was like, at the time I was thinking I need a tag division sort of going, and I can't. Unfortunately, in the game you can't do too much like mixed gender stuff. So I was like, shit, I'm gonna need a little bit more men to boost that whole tag thing up. And yeah, I could not think of that many men because I think there's a lot more women in this community that do a lot more, and I think they're a lot more entertaining as characters, and that is blatantly what it comes down to.
Yeah, a lot of the times we're the ones stealing the show, but depending on what fed you're like, the feds I'm in currently have acknowledged like that women are like one of their best talents, and they acknowledge like we steal the shows. But I've been in other places who is like, I had the best match of the night, wasn't even trying to be biased, and they would say some other freaking match was. And I'm like, no, that match was not even anywhere near as close as what my cop put forth. And I feel like that's why I say now that some girls, I think, don't. I mean, as of late with like COH and stuff, we've done so well with the division growing. Like the divisions merging was probably one of the best things to happen, because now there's so many more girls that we can work with, and we're not limited just to like whoever is like on COH and then Honor Bound. And but I feel like a lot of the girls now, as a community as a whole, don't want to like promo or put as much effort, because sometimes, as sad as it is, some men just really don't acknowledge us, and it's like they're like, oh, why am I gonna put all the effort in when at the end of the day they're just gonna say, oh, this is a piss break match and move on. Like, I still sometimes, I've seen it even a few months ago, like I had a match and they were like, oh, this is a piss break match, and I'm like, why the hell are you still like saying this? And I feel like it's just those men whose egos were put in check because we had a better match than they did, and that's just the truth. And
I think
I
for a
still
lot of
say
people,
it.
I think for a lot of people, if it's not their match or not their storyline or not their what they're going for,
They
everything
don't
else
watch.
everything else is a piss break match. And unfortunately, that's
Yeah.
an attitude you get in court, because there are people out there that are like, okay, I'm in this fed, and all I'll care about is what the world champion's doing and what I'm doing. And I think
Yep.
for maximum enjoyment of to be the best on the division and to be the best in the company, you should have a general understanding of what everything is going on. Am I the best at
Yeah.
watching women's matches? No, but I generally try and look and try and figure out what is going on to try and better myself. Like, I see a lot of women, and I'm like, these people are great. I also like Louise Bates, Ashley Sky at the moment. They're both doing great. Amber Reed's doing great. Tora Troy,
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea, fantastic. Yourself, great. Lexi's great. Lulu Moretti, she's doing really well. I think
They're the future of this community. Like, once I'm gone, they're definitely gonna like keep the legacy going, which is something I wanted for so long. Like being one of my goals, because I was like, when my cause career started going up, I was like, I don't want to be like, if once I'm to leave, the women's division just dwindles down and is never a thing to talk about anymore. But now that's definitely never gonna even be something I worry about, because you do have all these girls with so much potential that are definitely doing it to the fullest. That I can leave in peace. Like, if I retired tomorrow, I wouldn't have any worry, because I know that the girls that are there now would hold it down just fine. So that's something I wanted for a long time. And I always, like, when it comes to the titles, like back to what you were saying about people stress so much about world titles, and like if they have a TV title or a US title, that they're not as good. But look at what happened with Liam and Tone. They had the TV title main event of WrestleMania type pay-per-view. Like, that's huge. And still, I think it was on that card. I still think the tag match that happened like way hours before was one of the best matches of the night, and that was the tag belt, and that was one of the openers. And it was the Honor Bound tag team titles. um I still felt like it was the best. And that's not a main card. I like I don't know, I feel like a lot of people just put so much stress on a world title that it's not, the title doesn't make you, you make the title. So it's whatever you do with it. I've seen it a bunch of times where even myself, I was doing more than the males champion, but because I was a woman, I wasn't venting. They were, even though they didn't have nearly as much story as I was building. But that was a problem I was having more so in Redacted's place than I was anywhere else, and that just comes with poor management. But I always try to tell people that wherever you are on the card shouldn't matter either, because we've seen it to where freaking like in real life, like Seth Rollins opened up WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar and won the belt. Like that was the first match, and that was a world title, but it started off the show, and that had build to it. So I always just tell people, if you're the first match, you're the first match, but if your match is pretty damn good, then you kind of set it up for everyone else after you to have a criteria to beat, which, depending on how good your match was, can be really hard because, like, I know after that Honor Bound Tag Team Championship happened back at WrestleCade, I was like, dude, I don't know if my own match will top this. And it didn't. And I was like, I don't know if Johnny's match is going to top it. Johnny's match was freaking insane. I'm not going to get too much into it. But that had a twist of its own. And then you had main event. Like, I just always tell people, don't stress about where you are on the card. And don't stress about what title you have. At the end of the day, you have a title. And it's up to you on how you do it and how you present it. So that's what I always try to tell people. Like, I think they put too much stress on themselves to try to be the world title, like the world champion. But shoot, what if you have a better reign as a US champion than if you were to have world? That's just how I think of it.
Really, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's all down to the work and the storylines. Like, if you just there's people that put a lot of work in and they should be at the top, and there's a lot of times where that's just not the case, and people are like, when I say a lot of work, there's reasons to why I don't want to be doing people's late shows, promo wise, because I just don't feel that the work and respect is reciprocated sometimes. You know, I don't think it's reciprocated. It's like, well, fuck this guy. You know, like, goddamn. This guy, like, didn't have enough respect for us to tell us this shit, you know? And there's times like that, and it's struggling, it's annoying, and especially when you see the Fed owner and all that shit, it's like, I put in a lot of work, why am I not getting it back? And I think it's down to good management, I think. Good management decides, okay, this person's putting a lot in, so we're going to focus on them for a bit. And I think that is what good management does, and does well.
Yes, I agree.
I think that's just down to general management, really. You know? Overall, good managers do good stuff, bad managers do bad stuff, and it's just a case for you, the core creators, and you as a community to decide who's bad, who's good, who do you want to join, who don't you want to join. But alas, we talked about that for quite enough, and I feel that we should move on to your role in the women's wrestling. We've touched on a little bit, so as a woman, how do you feel women's wrestling has changed from when you first started to when, to now, basically? How do you think it's changed?
Oh, snap. Big time. I joined back in early 2016, so about 4-ish years ago. And back then, I remember women were only getting 2 matches tops, whether that was a pay-per-view or a normal show. Like, you were only 2 matches, that's it. And a lot of the time, they didn't have any story. It was just, oh, they're going to throw you into a battle royale, or they're going to throw you into a little tourney, and whoever wins that tourney is going to go against the champion. And then you have that match, and it's the same cycle over and over. And at first, I wasn't too big on wrestling because I used to be somewhat big on it when I was a kid because my brother, and that was back in I think 2007. So I stopped watching it for like a good 10-ish years. So during that time, I didn't think much of it. But as I was watching wrestling more again, I was like, well, look at what these female wrestlers are doing. Like Charlotte and Sasha Banks' story was happening at the time. It's like, look at what they're doing. Why can't I do something like this in this community? And I think that's when I made it a goal of like, I want to be that person, to have these big matches. And that's what ignited me in 2000, going into 2K17. I was like, okay, this is going to be my year where I try to make a big difference in the EFED side of wrestling because I didn't know anything about sim until like a few months later. I didn't even know that existed, but I certainly that was my year. I joined COH. I knew Zoe from back then. She was my day one, literally. Met her the first day. We had our story that I think really, really kicked off the change that COH now has. Because even before then, Zoe was like doing her shit on there. And I was like, wow, she's doing great things. And Lexi joined in soon after, and they had their little story. And then when I came in, it only added more fire to the division. And by the end of that summer, I I walked in with a huge pop. I got Simmers noticing me, and that was a huge thing because a lot of people want to claim that, oh, if it wasn't for them or their faction or whatever, I wouldn't have been there. But the thing is that my 8-line promo I did that June got me more attention than their faction or anything ever did. Like I had with this girl, her name is Eve. Oh, miss her. But she saw my promo on Hard Mic and she was like, "Dude, this is like diamond material. Like this is something you can see on our show." And their show was the biggest thing in call wrestling. So I was like, "Bro, that is insane." And I freaked out that night. I had so many simmers following me and everything. And I said, I got noticed by Simmers because of an EFED promo. And that's why I always hate hearing that same stupid argument about like EFED versus Sim. And I'm like, we all do our own respective thing. That's like a drawn out argument that I think somebody just keeps bringing up when they're bored. But it has changed dramatically because ever since that summer, I never got the same treatment again. Like into the future games, girls were always more thought of, and I think I set a standard for other feds to try to meet up to what Lions did, and like in Redacted's place, I was like, "You're behind, bro. You're still only having 2 female matches. You need to like bump it up." And we got more matches, tried to have more story, but he was very limited with me. Um, but now when I look at wrestling, female wrestling today, it is not anywhere near when I first did. Like years ago, I would be told freaking, oh, it's a women's match. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go make food. But now, when because depending on what fed you're in, some feds like one of the feds Amber's in, um, they have like a bombshell anthem. Like so when that tune comes, people lose it in the chat because they know that match is coming up. That was not be happening years ago. And same with COH when like he announced that Uprising division match is coming up, people lose their minds, and that's something that I so appreciate because that wouldn't have been something to see years ago. People would just think that we're piss breaks, but now it's like if you miss a women's match, you might have missed the one of the best matches of the night because I don't think I've ever gotten it's been a long time since I've been bored of a women's match. And if I was bored, it was literally it was 10 seconds. So, um no, yeah. There's been a lot of progress made with women's wrestling since I first stepped in. And I'm definitely like happy in all now because I think in every place I'm in, one of the first things they talk to me about is plans of what they're going to do for not only my call but the women's division and if they're going to have an all women show and so on. So it's just so nice to see because they make it a priority to make not only like all the men wrestlers happy but same with the girls. We don't have to freaking sit back and get the scraps no more. Like we're seen just as important as they are, and that's like that makes me happy. And I think that's where a lot of my current joy in the community comes from now because every single fed I'm in I'm happy with. I don't have a problem with any of them. I have no beef with them. And it's just because overall the roster is great. There's great people. The management team is great. and they bring good content for everyone involved. And that's something that I really wanted years ago. Because years ago, I didn't have that. It felt really unbalanced, but now it feels like very balanced and it feels nice. So that's how I felt. I just went on a ramble for like 5 minutes, but
No,
that's
wait. I
honestly the
mean,
truth.
I think that's true. I mean, going from being the piss breaks to like sometimes the match of the night, I think it's very
Yeah.
similar to what's happening in real life WWE.
Mhm.
And like it's validated because like in a lot of cases it's really disappointing to see that people are just like, oh fuck, this person on the show, and they just turn off. Because don't get me wrong, there's definitely times where I've done it. Not with women's wrestling, but with just certain bits and parts of wrestling. Like, oh,
Yeah.
tag team division, I'm not needed for this. I'm not gonna dip out the stream. I'll just open up a new tab quickly and just check stuff, right? And heavy vid, I'm not putting myself on this fucking pedestal saying I pay attention to everything that goes on the show.
Oh yeah.
I do my best, but I'm
yeah.
never gonna get to watch every single bit of it because it's just it's unachievable, right? But I won't dip out the stream. I'll just open a new tab because I think when a lot of people are so focused on the viewer counts, and I've been there, done that when I was doing incidents, and I saw the viewer counts and stuff, and I just get so stressed. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, what have I done wrong?
Yeah.
Oh no. And
yeah. That too. I mean, I know for you, WW Johnny stresses about it, and I'm like, don't stress, man. Like, it's a viewer count. This is just counting who is viewing it right now. It's not like what it's. And then, like, at the end of the night, they might reach 100 views, and sometimes it has. But no, yeah, I know the viewer count thing to drive people nuts. It did with Redacted. I said, dude, you got a whole lot more issues right now than freaking views. Like, that should be the last worry.
oh, he just didn't know run a show. He built his show on fucking surprise, you know.
But this is what I was going on about. Yeah, no, I definitely like. I think it's been a long time since I sat there and just watched the TV and watched CAW for 3 hours. I can't do it. I tell Johnny all the time, I'm sorry, but I cannot have this show on the big screen. What I normally do is I play COD or something, but at the same time, I have my Echo Dot hooked up to my phone, so I hear the commentary and I see my phone at the same time. So I'm hearing what the commentary is, but my attention is being stimulated, like my eyes anyways, on a game. Because I know I experience like burnout a lot when I used to just sit there and watch CAW all day. And that a lot of times was I would come home from school, I would watch Redacted thing for 2 hours, have a break, and then an hour later I would have to sit there and watch TCW for another 2 hours. And it was like a repeating cycle. Like I was just watching Twitch 6 hours a day. And I was like, dude, I can't keep doing this. Like I'm gonna get burnt out and bored. So I just say, you know what? Nobody ever said that I can't have it playing in the background. So a lot of the times that's what I do now. And if like a lot of times, you know, Lyons gets really into his commentary. So if he starts getting really into it, I pause to what's happening and then I watch the match. But yeah, no, I think nobody can sit here and tell me that they just sit here. I mean, maybe Johnny can because his attention has the span for that. Mine doesn't. But nobody can say that they haven't at least once opened up something else while the CAW show was going on just so they wouldn't get burnt out. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, at least to me. You're still giving the respect of whatever match is going on in the content, and you're still paying attention. You're just listening to the voice rather than the video. That's what I
think,
do.
Yeah, I think it's just not gonna happen if you want to be like, I want someone to watch from all the shows. It takes a very good show to make someone watch, and it's the same thing with WWE. There is definitely matches where I'm like, I'm not into this at all. I'm just gonna check my phone. And there's matches on there like, oh my fucking god, I need to watch this. You know?
Yep.
Like,
exactly.
It's just one of those things. I think with a lot of people, they need to just need to like figure stuff out, and I think it works, you know. It is what it is, really, to be honest, isn't it? Like, I think with feds, it's a very unachievable goal to think to yourself, okay, I'm gonna get all this done, nothing's gonna stop me, everyone's gonna watch it, because no one is gonna watch it. No one's like with the podcast. I am thankful for every single review that I get. There isn't a ideology of, okay, this is gonna get me at least 50 views in the first day. I'm gonna be so happy and all this shit, because that's just not the case. There is times where I've had like, who was it? It might have been Tone, but it wasn't Tone. It doesn't matter. But it was a big guest, and I thought this big guest is gonna get a ton of viewers, and the premiere was empty. It was just me, and I was like, shit, what did I do wrong? But at the end, they didn't do anything wrong per se, because the views came in later. But you don't. If you get upset about it, of course, there's times where it's like, oh shit, I should be doing 30, but I'm on 2. Like, what have I done wrong? Has the stream stopped? Of course, you get those type of moments, but there's just times where it's like, it doesn't fucking matter. It's like, what the fuck? Why am I caring so much about this view count? Like, if people like, and I'll say this, someone was talking to me about views and saying whether or not I should be watching certain shows, and oh, look at this person, they only got 20 views on their podcast, but look at this person, they got 97, which Zach is close to 100 views. So I'm going to link his podcast down below. So someone please push it over 100 views, please. Cheap plug. But the watch time is what I look at. If the average watch time is like 20 minutes, it's all right. If it's the average watch time is 15, I'm worried. If the average watch time is like 28 minutes, which my highest watch time is 28 minutes, I'm over the moon, because that means more people are watching it for longer. Which is the way I see it.
Especially with podcast. Sometimes, like, I know for you, I think, let's see, I know I watched Lexi's and Zach's all the way through. Technically listened to Tones, but Johnny had it playing on his phone, so I didn't have as much control. But with podcasts, they're longer, but you know, sometimes I'm like, I'm listening, and then a lot of the times my mom will be like, hey, I need help with something, and then I'm gone for an hour. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna pause it to where I'm at, and I'm gonna continue it later. That's something that I see a lot happen with podcasts, which is fine. At least like you said, the average time is like 28 minutes. That's reaching an hour and a half. So somebody is just nonstop listening to your guest and yourself for at least 28 minutes nonstop. So that's great. Like, yeah, I know if it was reaching like 2 minutes and they exit out, either they're an ass or like it definitely didn't catch their attention. So I definitely see where you would be worried about that. But yeah, views are not everything, because I know like with Lion stuff, I'm sure now he gets, I don't even pay attention to the view count of streams anymore, because I just think they're not important. But I know like back then when I first joined, he didn't have too many, but he didn't make that that he was going to stress out. He still made amazing content.
Well, I was sure,
like, well, shoot.
Don't take this quote for certain or anything, because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he gets 30 views on Honorbound, 40 views on COH, around about there or around abouts. Made 44 for COH, but then again, I don't know. That's just my guessing at most.
Sounds about right.
It's just my guessing
which I think personally is decent. Like, dude, that beats Redacted, please. But that, again, like, it's just about, sometimes it's just about timing. Like, you know, you're across the pond. Like, a lot of these shows start at like 11 o'clock at night. What if you went out drinking? I know, which you might do often. You ain't good. I don't expect you to tune in on a talk show.
I will tell you for this, right? I'll tell you this one for free. I was very lucky due to last year. The Honorbound shows were on Tuesday nights, and I didn't really necessarily go out on Tuesday nights. But I will say, when there was times where I needed to be somewhere, or like I struggled to make hard mics even then, because I was sociable. I was out drinking, having fun times in it, and like, I'll tell you this free. When I wasn't there, so I wasn't there from like when 2K20 dropped to Christmas, I didn't give one fucking thought to anything to do with this core. Yes, I took time to DM some people and check on them, talk to them every now and again, but God Almighty, did I not give a fuck. I was like, they're like, we want you in for, we want you in there for the Apex series, and I was like, I cannot give two less of a fuck. I mean, yes, it'd be nice to be in there, but God, certain person wanted me in there, who's now gone, and he was like, you need to be in there so I can feud you for the title, and I was like, I don't want it. And he's like, I'm gonna make you a call for you, and I was like, don't you fucking dare. Like, fuck off.
Bruh.
I don't, if I,
Oh my God.
like, I'm happy at the return I got. Crazy J, open challenge, Townsend comes back, you know? And I kept my shit quiet. I made sure that I was a surprise.
Yep, that was a surprise. I was like, bruh, he's gonna die.
I'm actually gonna rewatch that later on, like during Honor
That was a
Band,
good
which
one.
we're 7 minutes away from Honor Band, but during Honor Band I'm gonna rewatch that because that was probably my most favourite return ever, because no one was expecting it because I didn't talk about it. You know, maybe some people expected it, but
people expected me for sure. For COH, I made the mistake of like, I think it was 2 days before. Lions was still doing like, it was kind of Bits in the Bank, but Bits wasn't a thing back then just yet, I don't think. So it was just another random stream that he would do. He would just stream for fun. And I messaged him on Xbox saying, hey, are you ready to get my call? But I didn't realize he was streaming, and I didn't realize that at the time, like, anytime he got a notification on stream, it showed up in the stream itself. So somebody messaged me later that night saying, hey, what was that message to Lions about? Crap. Somebody saw, and I was like, how? And then I went to his stream and I saw. I was like, oh no. And yeah, I think that was the only thing, because I was showing up in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre match, the chamber that year, and I was gonna be the last entry because there was like 3 confirmed, and that was Zoe, and I think, oh no, there's actually only 2 people confirmed. That was Zoe and Lexi, but everyone else was a surprise, and everyone knew at the time that I said I was never stepping foot into COH. I was like, I hate that place. Really didn't. I was just trying to make people make sure that they weren't going to think of me. And I forgot who it was. Somebody that's not here anymore, but they were like, I 100% bet you Nicole's the last person to enter. I was like, bro, I told you, I'm just here to support my friend. I'm never joining this place. And then my music hit, and they were like, I'm not surprised. But I still got the pot because some people really thought I would never step foot, because I generally made it believable that I hated COH, but I really didn't. I was just, I was blinded by the people I wanted to listen to back then. But yeah, it's always nice when you have an entry, like a return or a surprise debut happen. Nobody expected it. Like, I think for even HXW, they didn't expect me actually signing, because I told people for months, like, I'm only gonna do surprise things. I'm only gonna do like one-time appearances, which was true. And I even told Boom that, but I was like so hooked on his content, I was like, let me sign a full-time. Let me just give it a try. And that was definitely my last show. Like, anybody listening to this, HXW was the last thing. He was my last exception. I think now I definitely can't handle any more feds. Because right now I'm comfortable. Like, I'm not watching CAW every day. I get a healthy break in between. And if I am watching CAW, I think it's like 1 show a day during the weekdays, if that. So I'm like comfortable right now.
Fucking no, I don't even watch that.
I think it's just, well, it's Mondays, Tuesdays when I can make Honor Bound, Wednesdays, and Thursdays and Fridays. So yeah, my weekends are basically free until there's it. But I think the only time I get stressed are the weekends, because a lot of people do their shows on Saturdays and Sundays. So sometimes I'm like, oh shoot, gotta pull up multi-Twitch because everyone's streaming at the same time. But yeah, I love like when I've had surprise entries happen for me, which I think what I last remember was Boom's place, because I came in with a full-blown promo. Like, I wasn't even signed or nothing. They were like, what the hell is she doing here? She said she was only going to do a surprise appearance. Yes, I was, but the content was so good I couldn't resist. And, you know, now I do detective stuff with you, which I'm so excited for the new one, and to see your new stuff. And, you know, I get to work with other people, and it's great, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, the detective stuff is just offering new things for people, I think. Like, comedy, like, you wouldn't... Crude never wanted to do comedy as Crude. He always thought that'd be Bobby Brown, but I think that's the best thing he's done. He's gonna... If he's watching this, he's gonna be like, fuck you, what do you mean that's the best thing I've done? And,
I think comedy is needed in comedy. And I think, like, your detective segments definitely like break the ice on that, because if you're having, because you know everything is because really competitive overall, so when you have like a little comedy break like that, it's relaxing, it's refreshing, because it's like, good comedy thing I can just simply laugh at.
I'll break the ice. I'll cut a shoot right here. Me and Crew don't think we're funny.
You guys don't think you're funny.
We just do it. We just do it. We're like,
The thing is that that's what makes it funny, because you guys are just doing this all in one thing, and you're like, you know what? If it comes out crap, it comes out like crap. But even if it did, it's still hilarious, because I think just how you don't make it so perfect is what makes it great. Because I think like the whole thing with the thing we just you know, your new one coming out, that thing is not perfect.
No,
because of, you know, connection issues, but it's still great.
Well, I only realized there was connection issue. Well, no, I realized it there and then, but I thought it was a good take overall. I was like, well, we'll just fucking keep it.
It was, yeah. It worked in favor.
Well,
for sure.
The biggest thing that we have a problem with now is timing, because so. Do I shoot or do I not shoot? Okay, I'll shoot a little bit. We didn't get told. Well, we didn't get told it was what we're doing was an issue, so we thought everything we're doing is great. Now, we made a 10-minute segment for him, right? And we were like, me and Crew had this conversation. I said, if they allow it, I don't know what's wrong with them. But we'll test our luck, you know? So we sent it forward. And they said, yeah, it's great, it's fantastic. And me and Crude were just sitting there like, you don't want us to cut it into different parts? So we have like part 1, part 2, part 3, so it's 2-minute segments and shit? Like, and no, it's great, it's fine. We didn't ask the question, of course, because we just, you know, when you give your boss your fucking work, you don't want to like say to fucking get it in share. So we're just like, okay. Then the show came on, and it didn't get aired like it said it would have been. And then we're like, wait, what the fuck? And then all the criticism of it came out. Oh, you can't have this segment in because we don't know if they would take the joke. Oh, okay. We're just being kept. And then it's like, if you should have told us, you know. Then I think that's died. I don't know if they're still annoyed at me about that shit.
Let me go beat that owner's ass real quick. Hold on.
No, I'm not. I don't. I honestly. I just like we handed them in we handed in the work to them, and me and Crude, when we handed in, we're just there like, they're gonna ask us to shorten it, and they're gonna ask us to get rid of some of this shit, because I'm not gonna lie to you, there was shit in it. There was shit just for time's sake, right? And we were there like, they are the owners. They should have enough fucking bollocks, because we showed a lot to we showed it to Bill, we showed it to I think Zach, but everyone we showed said it was good, right? So. Right. We were expecting something along the lines of, oh, we just want it shorter, but everything's all right. But he just said, yeah, that's great, that's great. We'll play it. And 3 days later, 10 minutes before the show, I said, did you get the video? Oh, we're not playing it today.
Bro, I would be pissed, especially if you put a lot of effort into
Oh,
how long it took as a
we
whole. I
we
would be livid.
we were pissed.
Oh,
I'm not gonna pussyfoot this around. And if they're gonna get angry at me for talking about it, then sure, fine. I don't fucking care. But
you come find me
yeah,
and
no.
let
But
me.
I'll say this. Like, I don't care if you're gonna get angry that I'm talking about it, because I put fucking how much work into that shit. Just be like, not even, oh, we'll play it next show. It was just, nah, it's bad, we'll just keep it off. I was like, okay.
No,
But
bro.
it's still on the YouTube. It's still on the YouTube, and I've kept it, and I'm not gonna release it because there was an angle in it. And okay, we'll shoot a little bit on the angle as well. Well, I'll tell you what the angle was. So the whole video was, it's a day in the life of the detectives, and basically Townsend didn't show up to work because Townsend in the shower singing. So there was moments of me singing. I'm like, do you know how much that pissed my parents off? Whoa, fucking Nora.
Oh, I could imagine.
Then Crude would be doing random shit, right? So Crude, he boxed a fucking kangaroo. He boxed Bobby Brown.
Oh my god.
He went after the fucking Cthulhu. He was in space, and then the angle that was disallowed was Crude was dressed as a vicar, like a proper African vicar, as he was, and he married. And the whole joke is that Amber Reed and Jordan Brooks were canoodling. It's like, oh, they're so cute, they're gonna marry, whatever the fuck. That was the joke at the time. I don't know if it's still a joke now, but that was the joke at the time. And so we just put Jordan Brooks' face and Amber Brooks' face on the bride and the vicar as a fucking joke. Like, that's primary school banter, man. That's kindergarten shit.
Yeah.
And it got disallowed because they said, I don't think this would be taken into.
Bro, I bet you that Amber Reed and Jordan wouldn't have even cared, and they would probably just laugh.
No, I pulled Amber Reed and Jordan into a
call.
Not a call, a group chat, and just put the link there. Not the link, the part of the video in there. And I said, would you be okay with this? And Amber Reed said, nah, I don't like the idea of that. And it was like, okay, that's fine. And honestly, I don't even care about that. I'm not angry at all, because if it was genuinely offensive to them, thank God I showed it to them before I put it on the show. But like, if it was genuinely upsetting to them, that's completely fine. I don't mind taking it off the show. Should have asked before I did it, probably. But it was something so innocent. And it was my fault because I deemed it innocent. But again, they didn't like the idea, and that was one of the issues. Then when I took that out of the video, it's too long, and we need to get rid of it. And I was like, well, fuck it. It was talked about so much, and I caught Boom when he was a bit angry. So yikes, and it was just a weird fuck situation. I hope they're happy, they're all right with me now, because have you seen what I made? Have you seen what I did for the Tone one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of money I'm not going to get back.
Oh my god. Townsend.
So I'm waiting for it to be the day. Like me and I went over it as well, and I said, Crude, this isn't funny. We need to re-record us being quick and funny. And that we hyped ourselves up there, quick, funny, and we still were long. It was still like 8 minutes, the entire thing. Like,
oh my god.
It is, and I'll tell everyone this for free. If you're someone who's trying to make segments that are entertaining and shit, they take forever, because you have to, if you want it to make sense, because I don't personally think the Star Wars, the Hail-Sanchez one makes sense too much, because it seemed rushed, because it was rushed.
Oh god.
And because we're just trying to shorten it down to as minimum time as possible, just so we don't get any fucking shit. But you know how it be. We're just gonna have to watch it and make sure we're not gonna get in trouble and shit. But alas, I'm not throwing shade at anyone. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not angry. I've been angry. I'm not angry now. I can joke about it. But it's just one of those things, man. It's like, and I'm not worried at all, because here's the thing. I've had so many DMs of companies wanting the detectives there. I was like, ooh. Thank you, and I was just there like, so even if this gets it and it's the whole fuck you're talking about us on the podcast, you're fired, I'm not even worried. I'm sorry.
Bye.
I'm just not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're that kind of character though. I don't think Jordan, any of the management team there will listen to this and think, oh my god, he's throwing all the shade. Fuck this guy. He's banned. He's out. I don't think they're like that. They're cool guys. They're honestly HXW, and I'll say this again. HXW is honestly one of the best companies I've worked for. And what we just talked about is just a minor frustration, if anything. It's just annoying. We just talked about the detectives, but it is what it is, and it's not a massive waste with the 10-minute segment that got cancelled because we are planning to use what we plan to use some of what was done in like something else. It's not the end of the world for us. Basically, we're not too worried. But yeah, it is what it is. We're just it's just. I think the Oliver Windsor one was hit just out of nowhere. Everyone loved it. The Lulu one was great because everyone loves Lulu. Now these two that are coming up next, and your one and the one with Tone is gonna be like, I hope it works. I hope you'll find it funny. And I think your one's safe because everyone loves Star Wars, but the Tone one,
yes,
and I like to think the Tone one's safe because the Tone one has something in it that I'm not allowed to share yet, but.
No, yeah, you're good.
You've seen it, right? You have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I have.
Yeah, so, because I was over the moon when I had it, and I sent it to like 6 people, being like, "Look at this shit. This is amazing. Look at this guy."
God.
And I honestly, best money I've ever spent in my life. It was brilliant. And yeah, no. So at last, we'll stop talking about it because otherwise I might be fired.
Okay, yeah.
No, I doubt it. They're all cool enough. I don't think they're going to be like, fuck you, you're fired for this. It's just something, I don't think it's in there. It's what they do. But yeah, fucking hell, Nora, I'm lost again. So, yes, with the women's wrestling, you wrestled in WrestleCade 6 in the main event with Lexi, with yourself, with Zoe Zombie, with Jada Storm. And that was a very big moment for women's wrestling, right? We've got women's wrestlers now like Andrea tearing up the scene and all this, that, and other. So, what are your dream matches for upcoming stuff?
Shoot, a lot of my dream matches have already happened. I have one in mind. But I'm afraid that feds are gonna do it because I know a perfect time to do this thing. But on top of my head, when it comes to eFed girls, I actually have never faced Lulu as Nicole. I faced her as Amber a bunch of times, but not as Nicole. So that's definitely one of mine that I have in the books. I know something might happen with that, so I just don't want some feds getting an idea. So if somebody is listening to this, please don't book it.
So what do you mean? What do you mean as Amber? Do you have a different call?
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, there's always a running joke. I don't know if you see this, but like I have so Amber Devitt, she's my other call. She's very Amber Devitt is my call, and she's very different from Nicole. So a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, have you heard that these are the same people?" It's literally me. Like when I promo for TCW, it's literally my voice. I don't do a voice changer because it's unnecessary. Like, yeah, that's my other call, Amber. I
thought, not gonna lie, I thought this was like Adam Rage or something. I was like, I don't want to follow
No, that's me. Amber is me. She's my other call. Yeah, I had her for just as long as I've had Nicole. She's a little later. She came in 2K17 because TCW at the time had an exclusive rule, and I didn't want to take Nicole out of all my other friends, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna make another call and I'm gonna put her there, and it was one of my best decisions. Yeah, that call is a little bit more OP than Nicole.
A little bit more OP.
It's weird, but yeah, I mean, I've already faced myself more than once, so that's not a dream match of mine. When I look, there's a lot of people on the Sim side though that I would face. Like I have like there's Jin. She was always one of my tops because she helped me start learning how to sim with TNG when she had that, which she still does. It's on PS side now, but I'm so happy to see what's happening there. There's girls over there that I would Andy, who else? Well, one of my recent matches on PS was a dream. It was Cody Hale faced her. She was a great person, and
I know Cody Hale somewhat. I don't know her personally, but when I was
she's on PS side. She used to be in Unite, but that's down now. But she's now in UCW with me, and I don't know if she's in anywhere else, but I don't think she is. But you can catch her and that's another really good show.
Well, I believe she I don't know what the fucking name of the core is, but someone from my university who was in the wrestling site, which I joined because I was like, ooh, wrestling, has a core, and they were apparently in a faction together or something, and I was like, ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was. I was like, oh. And the way I met him, he was like, oh, so who's your core then? I was like, oh, Townsend. He's like, oh, I'm watching that on COH right now. Oh, I'm watching that on Heelstorm right now. It's like, oh, hell yeah.
And this was at dude, that would freak me out.
It did. Then as well, another thing to freak you out, Redacted knows a mutual friend of mine who's like in the next town over, and they went to the same university.
Oh no, see, that's creepy too. I would hate that.
And like, I'm worried for one day I'm gonna go to this fucking friend's party and Redacted's just gonna stand there.
Oh no.
Redacted knows what I look like. It's like, oh shit.
You're gonna be like, hey Bucktooth, what's up?
I probably wouldn't talk to him. Like, I'm on a moral dilemma, because I'd like, do I tell the fucking dude that his friend's a bit weird, or just, because like, I don't want to ruin the guy's life.
I think in your best interest, if something were to happen, to be like, hey, this person is doing this, then you can be like, hey, I heard this guy did this. Like, be like, you should watch it with that person. But I think for now,
I think I'm just keeping it away because I don't want to ruin it. Like,
keep an eye on your friend, of course, because who knows
which brings me on to something new. I don't know how much of this will get me in trouble or some shit, but
I don't know.
The whole cancel culture. And especially, there's one that's happened recently, and this isn't core. This isn't anything to do with wrestling with it. So, with the Black Lives Matter movement, there are some people going on Twitter, and they're taking people what they say, and let's say they said the N-word in like an Instagram tweet. They then send the information out, and hundreds of thousands of people then go off and tell them abuse or
cancel.
Some shit. Right, cancel, yeah. So there's like, I draw the line when it's children. I think with adults they should have, like, when it's adults and it's like what they've said when they were a child. I think that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But if it's an adult and they've said it as an adult, they have some degree of maturity, and they should. And I think it's less bad because the adult should know better. But when it's a kid, I can 100% say nobody can say they were a perfect kid and can say that they've never said something stupid as a kid. And there was like Sky Jackson was like taking what 12-year-olds said, and then like the kid was now 14, and she put the 14-year-olds everything, their Instagram, their real name, their like where they went to school, all this shit out, and hundreds of thousands of people went to go target this 14-year-old who said something stupid when they were 14. There was a woman who they got her information leaked. 20 minutes later, she got fired from her job. Life ruined.
Wow.
And to me, I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong for them to use the derogatory language they use. Definitely, I think that when it's a kid, they should be better re-educated. But you do not leave that education up to your fans, Sky Jackson's fans, and all that shit. You shouldn't leave it up to their fans. You shouldn't leave it up to 10 thousands of hordes of angry people. because you'll ruin these kids' lives. And I saw it. And this is just an issue. I don't know if I want to throw you in the deep end and see what you think, because you know how people are. If it's like a different opinion, you're gonna get people at you. But I think
unfortunately,
I think as a kid, if a kid says something stupid, you can't ruin their life for them. They're 12 years old. They said something stupid. When I was 12, I said so many stupid shit. Like, I said so much stupid shit.
I'm sure we all have, yeah.
And the fact that they can ruin someone's life over what they said when they were a child is fucking crazy to me. And that is where I think the world's gone mad. The fact that as a child they said something stupid, and yes, it's a child, and they said it 6 years ago, but now that's being used to get all of them fired. There was a situation where someone got rejected from their university that was going to, and this is all in America, but they got rejected from the university they were meant to go to. And it's all done in somewhat like vigilante, because they all think they just made it's crazy. Like they think they're going on some mad crusade. They think they're doing a vigilante. They think they're changing the world, and I think that it's wrong. I honestly do. And before anyone says not for all of them, there is definitely cases where, and I don't believe it's good at any circumstance. The whole cancel culture of sending hundreds of thousands of people at one person. I never think that's good. I think that's fucking stupid. But there is definitely cases where I don't feel bad for certain people. Like, if it was a KKK member, I wouldn't feel bad. Like, but it's a kid, and their life ruined over what they said when they were like 14 or 11 or 15 or some shit like that, and their life is completely done. They're kicked out of the university they were going to join. They're no longer in the job they were in. Like, that shit stays with some people, you know. And I just thought, and you see it so much on the timeline, because I've unfollowed I don't know how many people for sharing it, because I just think you're fucking a moron if you're sharing that shit. Like, it's a philosophy I don't agree with, and it's just that the amount of people I've unfollowed.
Here's what I think the best thing that I view it is I view it as like it happened kind of just recently you see it a lot with YouTubers. Jeffree Star is one of the most controversial people in the beauty business, and he used to say really stupid shit when he was younger. I mean, I'm not really a supporter of him anymore. I don't watch his stuff just because that community is toxic in itself that I get stressed out. But I think what gets me kind of ticked is if they weren't on, let's say, social media, like if Jeffree was 10 when he said stupid shit and now he's in his 30s, and somebody really dig deep in the internet to find what he did at 10 and resurfaced it and said, oh, look at what Jeffree was and this and that. I find it problematic when you take time out of your day to literally dig so deep into somebody's life to find whatever they did wrong in the past just to bring it up. Because as somebody who made really stupid, like, I made a lot of mistakes when I was younger, but it's not the same person that I am now. And if somebody resurfaced it, I would own it. I think that's another thing, is that people just have to be like, yes, this happened, and this is what I've done to fix this situation. That I find it should be the best thing you should do. You shouldn't sit there and deny it. You should sit there and say, yes, I did do what happened, but this is what I did, blah, blah, blah. I know a lot of people go ahead, like when it comes to kids, yeah, that's a little bit problematic, but depends on what you define kids being. I define a minor, well, of course, under the age of 18. But I know a girl, her and her boyfriend were on freaking TikTok making, I think they were 17 years old, and they stupid little videos, writing out the hard R's all over, saying, oh, God made these people and this and that. And of course, people on the internet are going to see that, and it went viral. Those kids got kicked out of their school. Like, at that point, I don't feel sorry for you. Yeah, you're a minor, but you're 17 years old. Like, you know better to do that.
If you were anyone under 16, anyone under 16, and I think that's because 16 is the legal age of, like, where a child can I think it's where a
Yeah.
child becomes semi-dependent. I think when you're I may be wrong, but when you're 16, like you could join the army for and shit like that, right?
I feel like if you know what you're doing, regardless of what age, if you know what you're and you know what's wrong, then you've already made the choice. Like,
I
if
think it's varying degrees, right? I think with kids, I think they should be given a not a pass per se, but instead they shouldn't have their information given out to thousands of people, right? I don't think unless they can do stupid shit on the internet, everyone can. But I think they should be given somewhat of a pass because the maturity isn't there. You know, they're not thinking straight. If they know it's wrong, they do it anyway. They're not thinking straight. You know, they're kids. I don't think they can comprehend the consequences of their actions, right? You brought up Jeffree Star before. There is definitely times where I think there's like a level where if it surpasses that level, I think it's fine to bring it up, no matter how long ago it was. Like making a negative tweet on make some fucking shitty joke about and it's deemed offensive. I don't think that shit should be brought up. I think that's just fucking stupid. But let's say they rape someone, or they've done something awful to someone, or they were part of the KKK or some shit like that. Then yeah, spread light on that shit. You know, like
yeah.
It's situational though. It's completely situational, and I don't think it's up for people to. I think it's a case to the whole freedom of speech thing. It's like, I'm allowed to say this person did this because it was on the internet and it's public information and all that shit. And it's like I firmly believe in freedom of speech. I do believe in freedom of speech. But there's also the case of freedom of reach. I think yes, anyone can say whatever they fucking want. They should deal they should definitely deal with the actions of what their words say. Like the people who bullied Hannah Karima to killing herself. Like they need to just own it for the rest of their life. When I say own it, not in a good way. Not like I'm gonna own it and preach it, queen. No, nothing like that. I think they need to really hammer home for the rest of their life that they killed someone, and they need to think about that.
Yeah. I think when it comes to kids, that's why, like, with Mixer, even though they're shutting down, if you talked about age and you were I think if you were under the age of 13, they banned you, not to be mean, but I think to save these kids from saying something that they're going to regret and it will resurface to ruin their lives. Like, that's why I think like my mom, she was chill. I never did anything bad on social media as far as I remember. She trusted me, like she didn't need to monitor me. But I had a friend that she was like living two different lives on social media and her parents were seeing. And that was because her mom wasn't really monitoring her, like checking in, seeing how she's doing. And I think that's where it becomes that if a 13-year-old is being stupid on the internet, yeah, they're 13, but they're not supposed to be. Like, I think, or like even 11-year-old Twitter, you're not supposed to be on because the age I think is 13. So I don't know if an 11-year-old stupid on the internet, I don't quite know how it. Of course, it would have to deal with what exactly they did, but I don't know how sorry I would feel. Only because it's like, well, you're not supposed to be on the internet, and I know but there's a reason why social restriction be because literally I've learned in my psych class, it's like nobody's brain is until the age of 26. And women mature faster than men do. So, like, that's just the scientific truth. And that's why when I now kid does something stupid and they say, oh, they're just a kid. It's like, yes, they're just a kid, but you can't just say that to them and then just give them a little tap on the hand and walk away. Like, you have to guide that kid. You have to tell them why it was wrong, what they need to learn from it, so they know if they see it in the future or if they're put in that same situation again, what they know is the right thing to do. And I think that's where a lot of the issues we see in CAW today too. Like, we have freaking pedophiles running around and predators, and there's minors in the community, and a lot of these feds, well, not a lot as far as I'm aware, the ones that I know exists don't accept any of these people. But there's people that are still accepting these predators, and I'm like, you are not respecting the minors that are around you.
I'll say this for free.
Like,
I know this for free, and I'm not gonna name anyone because I know if I name it, it becomes a fucking massive issue or some shit where it's like an allegation.
You're fine.
At the moment, there's no proof and shit. But there is people who have told me for certain, and they have said to me for certain, there is people in this community that have preyed on children, right? Mm-hmm. And they are still here because they can't get rid of them because they feel, oh shit, we don't have any evidence on them and shit. And it's like, okay, if you know for a fact this person is a danger to children, why do you hire them to your company? You know? Why?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It is crazy to me because there's a lot of people in this community, and I'll say this, and people who, if they're listening, they all know who they are. We were in a big old fucking Discord call, and we were all talking about it, right? There was a good, 7 of us talking about it. And it was me and 2 others that said, okay, so what are we going to do to fix this? How are we going to fix this? And then everyone else went silent because they did not want any part. They were all scared of that controversy. And you think to yourself, you're scared of the controversy. And I'll tell you when we're not recording why, because I don't want to make it public.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking And people say, oh, fucking name it, pussy, and all that shit. I'll tell you why I want to say it. Because, A, the information is not proven. It's been told for certain, but it's not been proven. And I'm not going to spread shit that may be wrong. Right. I'm just, because I just don't want to let that fucking shit, you know? But yeah, no, it's crazy. People are still in this community, and it's like, if the information is right, and from the content of the character I see, and I kind of believe it's right, it's scary. And then that character serves as inspiration to every other character that does it. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And I'll also say this. There's a lot of times in core, right, where I see certain shit that just pisses me off. And one of the big moments is that I see, and it pisses me off utmostly, is the horny lot of core. I don't know was there a way we can call them out? We call them the horny.
I don't know what you're referring
the hornies, the horny people, you know, all
the people that retweet porn and stuff.
Oh, don't get me onto that. One of those people in the call got me in fucking trouble. I know who you were, and you got unfollowed. No,
oh Christ!
I think it was a mistake on their part because, I maybe it's not, because I've never seen them tweet it out. I block people I see that tweet that shit out. Well, not block.
I unfollow, mute, block, all of that, because I'm like, nope.
Well, you just don't want to see it. It's like, oh, fuck it. And God, you sound like the biggest fucking nerd here. I don't want to see porn. The Crude was having to go before.
It's totally understandable. But I don't like seeing it just because that's not the content I want on my time. Well, and furthermore, I don't understand why. I just don't understand why Twitter allows it. I don't get it. It's full blown, just not even censored, nothing. And I'm just like, what? Why is this allowed to be seen? But then I'm like, okay, yeah, you allow 13 and up to be on there. But bro, what if, it brings me right back to these freaking predators. I was like, what if this person, that's, pornography? Because I'm an advocate for stopping sex trafficking stuff. I do that for my campus stuff for school, and there's a lot of pornography out there that you look at these young girls and boys that they may look like they're in their 20s, but often they're minors. So you don't even know how old they are, and that's why I have such a problem with Twitter allowing it, because it's some of these people might be minors and you don't even know it. So it's you're allowing this to be shown, and that in itself can cause a whole loss. So yeah, when I see it, I just say why, and then I just proceed to block the person, because I'm like, no, that's not something that should be on social media. But yeah, I think like just as a whole, as the adults of the community, we should do our best. This place is crazy, but we should do everything we can to do our part and make it safe for the kids that are younger. I know for me and Johnny's place, if I see somebody that I'm not too familiar with, I kind of stalk them a little bit and I see who's following them, and then if I know somebody that follows them, I message them. I said, "Hey, can you vouch for this person?" And if they're like, "Oh, I'm a person, I just follow to follow," I don't accept them because I don't know what can happen. I've already seen way too many places where you accept somebody and then months down the road they're a freaking predator, and who knows what they could have been doing behind closed doors. And that's not what I want. Especially that we have, there's people in not necessarily in UWW, but people that also watch our stuff that are minors, and I don't want them lurking around in our chat, going into whispers and saying something to these kids. Like, they're kids. I'm sorry, Boom and whoever else. Yes, you're kids, but you're great people. But don't take it to offense. I just care for you. I look at you as my little siblings, because when I look at my nephews, they're one is going to be 11 next month, and I know if I ever found out like he was being like talked to in a creepy way or anything, I would do everything to get that person in jail. Like, I don't even care where they are. I would do everything, because that is an innocent kid that you're taking advantage of. And it's a huge problem when I see these feds that still allow these people in, because it's like, okay, it's one thing to say, oh, you're not sure if it's true or not, but if people have actually come forward and spoke out about this person personally, which is hard to do itself, and even if evidence was given to them and you still allow them in, you're an asshole, because that's not right. Like, you are putting all the minors that show or even in your roster at risk, and that's why I never support any of those shows. As far as I know, I only know one that exists, and I have them blocked. But that show in itself has that show's messy. I'll have to tell you after. But I'm thankful that the places I'm in, definitely, like, once they heard that allegation, truth or false, they're out. Like, they're saying, no, we're done. So I don't know. It's a mess, and I think that's why.
I'll tell you this: with people being very dangerous towards court, and all these people that are fucking weird in court, and they shouldn't be in court. I know one of them shouldn't be in court. I don't know too much about it. I tend to keep away from his situation because I just don't fucking care. Well, I didn't realize he changed his name, but he DM'd the Courtney account. I'm not gonna name him because I don't want that fucking drama, but. He DM'd the Courtney account, and the Courtney account is my woman's secondary, right? And as a woman, you'd know that you get weirdos in the women's accounts, right? Yeah. So I'll tell you what this. These are the DMs. It goes. He's DMing me about why I should be. So he said something to me on the timeline. So I said I deserve your followers instead of you, and so that's the idea. And he was like, have you tried fucking your way to the top? And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, I know where this is going. And I said, I don't need to fuck nothing to be the top. And he goes, well, good luck with that. And he didn't send another message since. Like, Jesus.
That's another thing too, which I'm trying to find ways to bring this right back to Caw, since it kind of is a Caw podcast. But that's another thing I hate too, when people, even in promos, a lot of other girls, or in men too, use the excuse like, oh, this girl has what she has because she screwed her way to the top and blah. Like, no, you're degrading that person at that point. Like, I've heard it from myself. Somebody said it to me one time, and I laughed because it was not the truth. Because if people really looked at my Caw, they would know that when I got to where I was back in 2K17, I did it by myself. I didn't do it. I didn't rise to, I guess you can say, fame with anyone by my side. I did it all by myself. I did it alone. So when somebody told me that I slept my way to the top, I laughed in her face. And I was like, you know nothing about my car. And you don't know how to even look at my backstory and promo correctly about it. Because if you did, you wouldn't have just said that. And I hate when I hear men say degrading things about women or like try to dummy down whatever they did. And that's why I tell people, like, don't bring me into your promos regarding Zach unless you have my permission. That was more so back in the day. Now it's kind of dwindled down. But people used to just always use me as an excuse as to why he has what he has. And I was like, that's degrading. And I once had somebody say that he was my freaking lapdog.
Well, he's not. He's not
Because
your
there was
lapdog. He's my lapdog. He's my best friend. What are
there.
you chatting?
Oh my god, yes, we know that. That's no surprise. But the whole thing with that was an out of character shoot, because at the time we were not on good terms with that person, and they just freaking degraded my character. Also, they can get under his skin, and I was like, that doesn't. I got nothing to do with that. So the fact that you even dragged me into it, now you're on my bad side. And I always hate when people did that, because I think when women degrade other women, which was one of the things that I know Lexi talked about in her podcast with you, it doesn't help. Like in a place where we are highly outnumbered by men, like I've definitely met a whole lot more like out of character girls in the community as time has gone on, which is great. But there's still more males than females, and that's just how it's gonna be, and that's fine. Because I mean, after all, if you kind of look at the statistics, men do watch more wrestling than girls do. I'm pretty sure of it. But it's like, in a place where we're already outnumbered, we shouldn't be degrading ourselves. We should be building each other up. So when I've heard other girls say that to one another, I was like, but why? What does that do to build your character? Like, okay, you called her bitch, but why? Is she really one? Like, are you just saying that just to say that because you have nothing else to say? Like, that's why I always research the person before I do the promo, or I at least pay attention to their matches, because I don't want to say something and look stupid like all these other girls did in the past to me. I want to know their backstory, because I want to know. I would want them to know my stuff if they're gonna promo against me. Otherwise, they're getting destroyed. And I've destroyed a whole lot of girls on Hard Mic and other promo shows right on Twitch live, because they didn't do their research, and it never ended well. So I absolutely hate when people say something bad about one another. Like, unless if it wasn't agreed upon before the show started, you shouldn't be saying it, because at that point, that's something that you just thought was going to work out. And I've seen it happen a lot when people try to promo against Johnny. There's literally 10 male roster members that have said the same thing to Johnny, and it does not advance their promo at all. It only made it, because they're just using the same reusable thing. They're taking it out of the recycle bin, and they're gonna say, what am I gonna say tonight, person? And then they just say, oh, I'm gonna say this, and they just go with it.
Well,
Like,
people are just unoriginal. You looked at anyone's
it's
fucking
very
promos.
unoriginal, and that's what I hate. I hate promoing with unoriginal people, and I hate hearing unoriginal promos, because if I hear something unoriginal, I pick at it, and I just pick at them with it, and they get annoyed, because they hate that I'm calling them out on it. But it's like, no, you say in your promo you're the best thing, which is also unoriginal, because nobody in this community is the best. We are all not perfect.
Courtney is. Courtney's
Like,
the best.
I hate I hate
That's legit my entire
when
gimmick with
people
them.
do
And
that.
then, as soon as someone calls me unoriginal from that shit, I'm done. Like, there are so many ways you can shut up Courtney as a fucking
So
promo.
many ways.
There are so many ways, but no one does it, and that's why I'm allowed to have free fucking reign. You know?
Right. Yeah, people have done the same with Johnny and I about the whole old washed up COH thing and called up thing. I only used it because, I mean, we already agreed in our storyline before for COH that we were gonna bring things to the surface, but I made Johnny aware of that. It wasn't something out of the blue. So when I hear somebody tell him like, oh, Nicole's the reason why you got called up, I'm like, dude, that's an old excuse at this point, because whether people want to admit it or not, crap ton of stuff ever since he got called up to COH. And to be quite fair, he didn't even want to be called up because he felt he wasn't ready. But you know what? He made the best of the situation. He has a great story going on now with me and Jordan. He had a world title reign. What, you had a
wasn't it
freaking
2K18 his
he
year?
had other titles.
2K18 was his year, wasn't it?
What happened?
2K18 was like his year, wasn't it? Like he
exactly.
won TCW and
people
PWH.
don't want to admit it that he had an amazing year all around in call that year because he got called all because I got him called up. That's literally all people look at, and that's why I get so upset, and that's why I always call him out on it, because they always use that poor excuse. And I hope everyone that ever said that to him is hearing this right now, because you're an asshole at the time. Maybe I'm cool with you now.
I don't think it's a case of they're ignoring it. I think it's just a case of it's the easiest thing to promo to him about. Like,
but a lot of people were ignoring. That's the thing. Like one guy that when he won the one guy freaking went on Twitter and literally did the whole, like, you know how Triple H went on Raw or wherever it was, and he was like, oh, friend, stop watching. Like, he was literally having that attitude. He was like, oh, I'm gonna stop watching this place because he won. And I'm like, dude, do you realize this is an AI fed? Like, we do not have control over what our cause do. So he was getting death threats over freaking Caw, and that's why I hated that year. And yet that was his best year, which sucks. It was the best and worst. But yeah, I hate whenever somebody uses that excuse with him now, because that's something old, and that's something not even, like, okay, at the time you might have been able to bring it up, but he has so many more accolades that are on it that's honestly, if you were to say it today, you look like a fool. Like, you just look like a fool. And I think a lot of people agree with me on that when I talk to them about it in parties, because they themselves don't even say it anymore, because they know it's old and it's overused and it's just simply not the truth. It's not relevant to his story anymore. Like, he's done so much more. He's just went into the Twitch Cruiserweight tourney, which that was the first one he's ever done. And he had freaking great storytelling. Like, you know, that's an example of, like, somebody does so many good accolades, but people want to be so narrow-minded, focus on one thing that's in the past. It's like, bro, you're living in the past. You need to look at the future.
Well, people are idiots, and
it's idiots big time, dude. And that's why I think, like, that was one of those, was like, I don't want the freaking girls to have to feel like they're always going to be stuck in this same pattern of no stories, just only number one contendership matches, and that's it. Now it's a whole lot more different. Like, even with my belt, like, I have story of my own with the Zach and Jordan right now, but I have Carbit coming after me, so it's like, you know, that's in the mix. That can be definitely worked into the story, which I probably just gave myself an idea for sometime in the future. But that's just, yeah, I feel like people need to be more open-minded and be open. Stop.
People just aren't, though. It's just the fucking thing. People are idiots.
Just be more open-minded, people. Take a breath and just enjoy the work that happens, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll enjoy it like I do, because I stopped being so narrow. and I enjoy it now. So I think that's just all people need to do is just loosen up a little bit.
Exactly.
Take off those expectations to win, or like, I think that's another thing too, when people get so worked up about winning. Because I mean, shoot, I would hate to have my call, like, I've had times where my call was losing for 2 months straight, and I was like, bro, what's going on here? That's frustrating. But look at Ryad, for example. He was losing for 2 months straight, and nobody acknowledges that because it's not relevant to what he's doing now. He's doing freaking amazing story in COH. And if somebody, it would be the same thing like with Zach. If somebody were to bring that up to Ryad today, he would be like, okay, and what about it? Like, why is that relevant to me today with the stories that I'm doing? Because it's not. And that's what I think is my piece of advice to people that feel like they run out of things to say in a promo. Like, I always tell people, I'd rather sit there in silence than say something that is so overused. Like, I could never find myself doing it. I'd rather just sit there in silence and be like, you know what? I have nothing else to say, than try to stumble and be like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna say this, even though they hate saying that. Like, at that point, you're disrespectful. Because if I set a boundary with you that I explicitly say I don't want this mentioned, and you mention it anyways, I don't want to continue my story with you. And if I have to, it's not going to be nice because you've already lost my respect. So I feel
Indeed.
like people always feel like if they're running out of something in a promo, which it happens. I mean, I've always run out of stuff. Johnny's run out of stuff. I'm freaking everyone has at one point. But sometimes you just need to be like, with your character, you know what? I'm done with the night. He's sitting over here telling me that he stuff. Listen, this is my interview. I got this. Don't you say nothing. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
stuck
off,
here.
Johnny. God damn it.
Anyways, but yeah, it happened, and you know what? You just roll with it. It happened to me a few times in honor bound because I was new, and CUH, and I just paused and I said, you know what? That's all I have to say. And I was done. I definitely had more to say, but I was in my line. So I was like, I'm done.
Well, okay.
So,
Quickly,
I don't know.
because I'm quickly looking at the time, and it's we've been talking now for an hour and 3/4, and I've been thinking, oh shit, because I'm trying to limit these to an hour and a half, and it's just not working out for me at all. So,
Dude, you keep reaching the 2. So let's count it to my last closing segments that you want me to answer here. Because I know you have
yes,
5-round questions.
we
Okay.
got the Mount Rushmore coming up, right? So,
Rush.
firstly,
Okay.
the Mount Rushmore of dream opponents. So we know you've been doing this for a while. We know that, and you've got like who you've already faced. You faced all the big names per se, but who's next? Who's next on your dream opponents list in the Mount Rushmore? Stats 4 dream matches, basically, please.
Okay, so we're gonna do Jen Cruz, Tesla, Lulu, and who else did I mention? You know, I'm wait, did I face her already? Hold on, I really gotta, because there's so many people. I didn't. Who? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out my. Oh, you know what, Candy. She's on PS side. I never faced her, actually, I don't think. So, yeah, those are my very unique Mount Rushmore right there for dream matches.
Very sim heavy right there, I'd like to say. Very
Yeah.
sim heavy. You got a lot of sim matches that you want to do. So I'm guessing that
Yes.
you're trying to go towards more
That
sim.
would have to be more so when I know that those would happen. But yeah.
Okay then. Well, quickly following up then, your Mount Rushmore of your favorite matches.
Shiva, Zoe, Lexi, what are the of my favorite matches? Let's see, Shiva, Lexi, Zoe, Honestly, Jada, because all of those 4 people have given me classics.
Fair play.
So,
Fair
yeah.
play. The Mount Rushmore of the future of the women's division.
Oh, okay. Andrea, Tora, if not already. Let's see. Andrea, Tora, Iris, and oh, Amber.
Oh, fair play.
There we go.
That's a good 4 actually. That's a very strong 4. Do you think they can main event at WrestleCade one day?
Oh yeah, big time. Hey, shoot, that if they all were like in a fatal 4-way, like we're 5 stars. I already.
Well, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll reach into a little bit of real life right now. The Mount Rushmore of your WWE or wrestling influences into the character Nicole Hail-Sanchez.
For Nicole, that is gonna be Paige, Natalia, ooh, I say Charlotte and
Charlotte, Paige, Natalia.
I put Paige. Yeah, Paige and Natalia, Charlotte, and I'm trying to figure out my 4th here. Oh, Maria Kanellis.
Fair play. That's actually a good 4. Shit.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore of your favorite people in core.
Oh goodness. Okay.
When I say favorite, I mean people watching. Not you don't even name your friends. Like the people favorite
people
you
watch. Oh, like, people to watch. Okay.
Yeah, favorite people to watch. Sorry, I need to be more clear.
Okay, let's see. Who do I love? Okay, Jay Jones. Boom. Well, see, I'm not even trying to name friends. I just literally love. Let's see. I said Jay. I said Boom. Said Malachi. His content. Who's my last that I like watching?
It could be a tag team. It could be like your.
Okay.
It could be like your people working in law, Law and Order. It could be them.
You've been with Notorious.
Oh yeah, surprisingly, I have, because I'm usually a person that loves my faces, but I've been liking Notorious stuff with their story. Something's always happened.
Did I hear some help from Hail-Sanchez there?
No.
No help from Zach at all there.
Okay, the first 3 were definitely mine. The last. Josh, this is my interview, not yours. Not yours. Quiet.
God damn it, Zach.
That means he likes some Notorious stuff. But I think on top of my head, if I had to... Honestly, Desmond Cruz. He's another one. So, make my Mount Rushmore for, like, favorite people oddly seem to be all males, but I'm trying to think males and females. It would be Jay Boom. Right? Boom. Yeah, actually, you know what? Your guys' content is good, but you said not friends, so I wasn't trying to think of...
Oh, she's throwing shade at Boom, Jay Jones, Desmond Cruz, and all them.
Whoa, wait, I said general... No, Desmond is my friend. See, you can't do this, Townsend. See, I knew something was going to happen.
We've got you now.
Okay, but literally, friends or no friends. My favorites are Jay Boom, Desmond, and freaking, who else did I say? I said Dez. I said Malachi. There we go. Those. Yeah.
I swore I heard Townsend. Don't know what was wrong with me.
Listen, maybe if you ask me another question, it will pop up.
Favorite comedy pairing.
Okay, we already know that you're in Crude.
Oh yeah, we're winning something. Are you winning something? Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Oh my god.
There you go. And Nay's gonna annoy all the people now. How dare she say all this shit about all these people?
Oh,
terrible.
Good Christ.
terrible. No, but it's all fun and games. Okay, quickly. Your Mount Rushmore of male hidden gems, because you said you're female. Let's get
hidden gems.
You know,
okay.
like Future.
Ooh, I had these.
Yeah, you said before the show you had these already planned out, Nate.
You know what?
But
I thought you were talking about like less. But
yeah, I've thrown some curveballs here at you, Nate.
Did.
You don't come into my podcast acting so brash and so confident. I will throw the curveball.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. Okay. Off the top of my head, White Rabbit is definitely a hidden gem. Because we see him, within our EFED side stuff, but like not a lot of the sim peeps know. So he is definitely a hidden gem for me. Preppy is another one.
Preppy is the hidden gem. Like, he's the most.
Love me some good Preppy. Let's see. Another hidden gem. Carlos Corvo. He's such a hidden gem because not a lot of people know him. In our. But yeah, he's definitely one. And who else? Let me see. Who's the hidden here? I'm literally sitting here looking through every little person. You know what? Boom would definitely hit a gem because he's so great, but I think so. Yeah, those definitely have so much great stuff going on. Yeah,
we had a bit of just interference with the whole like connecting things. Can you say that one more time? About the boom.
Oh,
you said something about
so
boom.
my so my four I said White Rabbit. I said
Carlos Corvo. Boom.
I said Preppy.
And Preppy.
Boom, because he's great. Who was my last that I said? Who's my last one, Johnny?
What?
Who's my last one?
Okay.
Of like who I said was the hidden gems.
Oh, but this is your.
You said Boom, Preppy.
Okay. Yeah, I said White Rabbit.
White Rabbit, Boom, and Preppy.
Yeah, and then somebody else. I'll have to remember who it was.
Boom, Preppy, Carlos Corvo, and White Rabbit.
Yes, and Boom, yes. Okay, there we go. Yeah, them four. Yep.
Good
hidden gems.
Well, while we've been talking, I've been quickly cutting your render out for the thumbnail because I realized, considering I've got 24 hours to get all this out, I better start working on the thumbnail.
Multitasking.
And I was about to cut you off saying, "Oh my God, Nay, I've just deleted your boob," but I thought that was pretty bad.
Oh my God.
Oh Jesus! I just got rid of your pinky finger. Oh fucking Nora. I think there should be like an actual high-paying job for people that just cut like shit out and get rid of backgrounds, like professionally.
Yeah.
This shit is difficult.
This is true.
Terrible. I can say the idea because people will have seen this, but seen the thing before they see this is the podcast. But I'm good. You know that photo of Townsend looking really angry and jumping with his forearm in the air?
Is that your profile picture for Discord?
No, it's the one I did. Zach would know because it was the Zach Sanchez, my best friend merch that was showing off.
Oh.
And Townsend looked really angry, and I'm gonna have you standing, just doing your pose, and Townsend angry behind you, and then it's like with the Zach Sanchez is my best friend logo, because you know, bros before hoes, isn't it?
What even made you come up with that? Is that just
I said it. If Zach's there, he'll tell you. If Zach's there, he'll tell you.
It's in your podcast. Okay. See,
now you didn't listen to the Zach Sanchez podcast name?
Yes, I did. If I didn't, I would have got.
Well, I'll tell you, right? So, we were in a disco party or some shit, right? And everyone in the party starts shouting at Hail-Sanchez, and I wasn't having it. I was not having no one come out of my mouth. So I shouted, "You bet! Hey, listen here, you cunts! You better not be chatting shit to my best friend right now." And sure enough, they stopped talking shit about my best friend. And from there,
so that's what started it all.
Plus, I help him in COD get like COD shit. Oh no, Nay, I've taken a bit. Oh shit, I've taken a bit out of Nay for some reason. Uh-oh.
Love that. Shush, this is my interview. Go.
God, Zach.
He's talking about he's making cameos on my crap.
Man,
okay,
look at this unprofessionalism by Zach. Terrible.
I know.
Oh, Jesus.
I know.
Absolute
Alright.
terror. Anyway, no, so carrying on with the Mount Rushmore quickly. Before we have to end today, and so I can get back to watching Honor Band, because if I miss my shit, I'm gonna get annoyed. Is Bjorn's in a triple threat? What the fuck? Excuse me. This is how I'm watching Honor Band. It's like, isn't he my tag team partner? Is he supposed to be with me? But oh well, we'll see what I'm doing later. Anyway, sorry. I should be focusing on you. I'm sorry, Nick. The Mount Rushmore, quickly. So, what were the questions you prepared for? Because I'd hate not to ask them.
Yeah, I think it might have been this one. So go ahead.
What do you mean this one? I asked what question it is because I don't know what question I'm gonna ask.
The Rushmore of like call over.
The Mount Rushmore of call overall. There you go.
Oh fuck. Okay, actually yes. All right, so. We're gonna do Jin, we're gonna do Tone, we're gonna do Lion, and what other big legend is freaking oh god.
Nick
Johnny's
Virtue?
gonna kill me if I don't remember his name.
Nick Virtue?
Yes. Virtue, honestly.
Hell yeah. I love me some Nick Virtue.
Those four were here for years. Like from 10 years ago. So they just yeah.
Okay, and then your real life quickly, your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers in the world right now.
Okay, so we're gonna do Drew McIntyre, Keith Lee, Adam Cole. As much as like I may not be a huge fan, but he's great. Who's my Io Shirai.
Wow, that's a fair amount. That's good.
Yeah.
I was waiting then just to hear you say an AEW tan, just for me to cut you off and be an asshole. I was gonna be like, AEW, what the fuck?
Oh my god, you're gonna get hurt by your best friend.
Wait, is he a fucking AEW fan?
He likes AEW and he likes WWE. We just enjoy the content. You know what? We'll talk about this another time.
AEW trash, bro.
Oh my goodness.
Your Mount Rushmore of NXT. And that's past and present, so you can use like guys like Finn Balor and shit.
So it's gonna be Finn Balor, Aleister Black, Io Shirai, and Rhea Ripley.
That's a good look, man. Your Mount Rushmore of SmackDown.
Ah, shit. See, I don't pay attention to SmackDown much.
Not at all. I'm not talking about real life. I'm not talking about current. I'm talking about like past, present, future. Just the thing.
Okay.
And I was the same for NXT, so maybe if you want to go over that as well.
No, yeah, I know. Well, to be quite honest, we have to have in that because SmackDown was his home, at least. Unless I'm about to get freaking shot in the face, but I would think like he would have to be in that Mount Rushmore. Freaking who else? See, Johnny's gonna kill me when he left the room, and he's gonna be like, SmackDown with me every Friday. But to be quite honest, as of late, I don't know if anybody else, but I just haven't been feeling it with WWE. or maybe even wrestling as a whole.
I'm talking about SmackDown from like 2006 and all this shit for the Mount
See,
Rushmore.
I wasn't watching that time.
Well, you're not gonna say like Kurt Angle, the man who drinks the milk.
I wasn't watching.
The Edges, the Undertakers.
I wasn't watching that, dude. I hated when my brother had to turn on WWE because it would be in competition with my cartoon. So I was mad. But I definitely, like, the one memory I remember when the Edge and Lita, a celebration happened when he was, like, pretending to have sex with her on stage. That, like, mortified me. And my mom wanted to beat up my brother. So, yeah. I definitely do not remember in 2000. My small brain.
Small brain.
So, yeah.
Small brain. Okay, well, I think that's all the Mount Rushmores I have in my head. Unless you want me to ask Raw. Do you want me to ask Raw?
No, because I don't know why.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Back then.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Pardon me, man. I spoke the truth. I was a child.
Nay, I want to thank you for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on today's Warchief Radio.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait for the Nay and Zach Sanchez part 2 because there is going to be a part 2 with you two together.
Oh goodness.
We're gonna.
That's gonna be a fun one. Okay. He's gonna have his 2 podcasts together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you just say no? He's not. Excuse him.
No, he said, "Oh, nice."
oh! I was about to say, and we're gonna play a game. It's good. Who's better, my best friend or my girlfriend? Ooh.
Oh God.
And then we're gonna compete, Nay, and the winner gets Zach to do a attire photo with his merch because he still hasn't done the Townsend is my best friend attire photo. They say
he might do that right now that you say that.
He better. I sent him the logo ages ago.
Oh.
Months ago,
Ooh.
Zach. What you?
He's hiding.
Yeah,
he's hiding.
Should be hiding. Grr. No, it's all good fun. But we're definitely gonna have that. We're gonna have a mini game on that one. We're definitely gonna do
it. Okay.
Zach's gonna be like saying stuff, and then we're gonna like have to sort it out, and yeah, it's gonna be great.
Alrighty.
We're all ready. Thank you everybody for watching. I have been Townsend. Nay has been Nay. Do you have any medias that you want to plug, Nay?
Just be safe out there. That's seriously. Be safe. Yes. Alrighty. See y'all.
Thank you very much for coming in. Check out Muay Thai Icons. This podcast has been longer than the Tone White podcast. Oh geez. And thank you everyone for watching. Goodbye and good night.